How can something as beautiful as this be dying? A plague is ruining them. Welcome to Biomutant. Look out for the bigger creatures that roam around here. Thinks it's awful how you can't find good pastries anymore. Sure, Lump makes some wild things, but the taste and how they treat you when you eat them. Oh, no thanks. Claims they taste interesting. Says the rumor is Lump's baked goods can do all sorts of strange things to you. They've never been brave enough to try his craziest creations. If you're desperate enough to give them a go, good for you. Thinks you'd do something exciting with them. Says you'd think with the world dying, everyone would stop trying to figure out ways to blow it up. Not so with Boom. He just keeps figuring out new splody things. The noise is awful, but the bust craters are even worse. Says they don't know, but he keeps at it. Says Boom's grandma used to be big into splosions too. The old lady taught the young Boomer everything she knew. He blasted right past her now, though. Hopes you get Boom to disarm too. A story has got to keep moving forward. Let's see. This here is the Sinky Dink, home of Gulp, at the very least. He's pretty sure he's heard of you before, although the details are maybe a little hazy. He wonders if you have something for him to drink. Guesses he does, but it's a long life in a wild world. Sometimes he's shaken, not stirred. Says you look like you've got a powerful thirst to do something in this world. Good, bad, not really sure, but it seems like you've been drinking in your destiny and liking the flavor. Wonders if you could take the time to help a man slake his own thirst. You'd be doing him a liquid solid. You're a do-gooder, so you know you want to. Either way, he hopes you find a way to wet your whistle before the world comes to an awful dry end and leaves us all thirsting for more. Says life's like a mystery drink. Sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's awful. But either way, you can't stop drinking till you're dead. Sure, that's the point. But you can't stop trying new ones. Life gets dull. Wants to raise a glass to you getting the world fixed up a bit. Respects how you always try to help, no matter that the world's fate is hard to swallow. Sees why you joined up with the myriad. They like a peaceful drink, just like you. Says he sells them drinks. They mostly suck them down on their own. But who cares about them? Says you'd be as bummed out as him if you came for the hot stuff. The glugmocker, Nimhimbibble, and his favourite radium syrup. That one's even more intoxicating now, aged in truck tankers and all. Without a drink, and radium syrup especially, he can't move, much less think, as the power of his mind is directly proportioned to the quantity of syrup he swigs. That's why he's called Gulp. The drink helps him forget the state the world is in, but it only lasts until tomorrow. The world is still doomed, even if the sun goes up. Figures the real problem is finding something to drink. He wants you to know he has other interests too. He's the Surfipelago's self-proclaimed ornithologist, for example. There are other ways than a cold drink to relieve stress, even in these dark times, and, fortunately for you, he can help. Watching pippies flap is calming, but better yet are the ones you can look at and touch, like quacks. Squeezing them is a great way to relax. They're better at floating than flapping, so you should be able to net a few without growing yourself a pair of wings. Confesses the hard work is starting to take its toll. Understands you have things to do. Don't forget the past. Learn from it. Metal ride. The Quack Hollow. It's just lonely. Leave it behind. Need a key. This story needs a hero. In the face. You lack key energy for that. Slice and dice. Reeks. Smoked. A thing to draw blood. You need to line up the switches so they match. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. A plan is all you need. Perfect for slicing and dicing. Dan did that. Heroes are only heroes for others, but they do the work, or they're heroes to no one. Under your own power now. Gulp says he'll bibble anything once, as long as it's drinkalicious, even rocket fuel. He once mixed up some tankers and drank that. It was a real lift-off. That leads him to the bottom of that particular bottle, radium syrup. If only he could find a tanker truck to empty. He's not in a state to go looking, so he's counting on you to help. Go find him a tanker truck and bring back some of that precious radium syrup. Says they might be good for other things, but not for anything better than adding zing to your drink.
Take that light!
So much for the dark!
Get that light out of your eyes. It's blinding.
That's how a bright mind does it!
Light never lasts. Not forever.
Take fast over fancy any day. The oil claimed this land a long time ago. Let's see. That's enough quacks to sustain the Googlide flipper with infinite ammunition. Goop says he was there when the Porky Puff took Out-of-Date's leg, so this World Eater has made it personal. After that, Out-of-Date started using his head instead of his legs and came up with the plan on how to best make a stand against the World Eaters And it wasn't by foot. That's how he got tasked with rebuilding the Goo Glide. He seems happy to talk. Wishes someone could end that hoofed world eater. Excited to meet someone with a bright aura. You're a rare sort these days. Says you covered the important things already. He seems happy to talk. You need to help Goop defeat the Porkypuff before it destroys the southeast route. Says you must look at the Tree of Life to see how the world fares. Says you covered the important things already. He seems happy to talk. Says you should take care. No time for sightseeing. Had enough of that? Hey, there's some rubber scrap over there, just right for the taking. That paid off. Sometimes the smallest pieces of scrap are the ones you make yourself. Put it together. It's a wonder some of these up and downs still work. Guess they built machines better in the past. Better get a move on if you want to change things. The spent nuclear fuel that Toxanol dumped in the surf had detrimental effects on the marine habitats, while the overflowing landfills contaminated the groundwater. Combined, this sent their world hurtling on an inevitable road to ruin. I need to brush up on my Wando, but I have a feeling he believes it was you that caused the bang at the yard. Oh, and he says he knows you. You used to call him Gizmo. He gave you the oil-greased hands when he taught you how to upcycle. Gizmo remembers you as a nice kidling, and he can still sense the warmth of your good heart. But Gizmo says how you experience a memory can be different. You know the story, but sometimes the truth it brings is personal. He hopes you remember that one time he taught you to upcycle, and hopes you've had some use for it over the years. Gizmo says he also has re-memories from the long gone, but unlike you, he doesn't think of the past, for it's gone. He understands history made Lupa Lupin a big part of your past, your present, and soon, your future. You still believe there's some good in everyone. You still have hope for tomorrow. He says you should know that what's meant to be will always find a way, but history shouldn't consume you. Gizmo understands you still have strong feelings, but urges you to keep them under control. You've witnessed firsthand what it'll lead to.
Nothing shines like the dark. Oh, no, wait. Oh, well, you know.
Just when you think there's no hope, hope comes along.
Blinded by the light.
Shining like a brand new day.
Next time, go with your gut. Your dark, dark gut.
Would like to know if you ever doubt the choices you made on the path that brought you to this point. Would you have been happier going in a different direction? Figures you're either a rare person or a good liar. Maybe both. Hard to believe the world is actually going to survive. Just seemed impossible till now. Grateful to you for coming back and doing your best to change things. You were the only chance they had. Wonders if you liked working with the Myriad. They always seemed so centered and so seeking. Thinks that's more than most are. It's hard to keep to a path like that. But that's not important now. Gizmo says it's taken a long time to bring the past up to the present, and where you go from here is up to you. You need to set the past aside, at least for now. He can't leave the Underyard as he has no protection against the vacuum in the dead zone. So you need to salvage scrap to upcycle the Mekton, starting with the old crate outside. You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time to waste if you want to make the Mekton strong enough to fight the Jumbo Puff. That's what he decided to call it after he saw it for the first time. It's big and fluffy. That's accurate enough. If you can see past the blue color, that is. There's short of breath and death to this zone. Better take care. He who half breathes, half... Still feel dizzy? That means you're still alive. That's the leftover you're looking for. Make sure you know how to get back. So different from the surface down here. Everything looks stunted round here. Feels lonely here. Even the air is gone. Feel like a landed fish? You sound like one. No turning back. You need to line up the switches so they match. Just a few moves left. Make them count. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. He says that's enough to get the Mekton functional. You'll have an engine, a fuel soaker, a gun and a gathering net, but no armor, nor enough oxygen supply. Something he devised to salvage valuables from the ground. There are usually spots hidden beneath puddles of oily goo where you can use the net. He's been working on another project for the Mekton, a cannon, but it needs ammunition, and by that he means the scripts. He says if they're trained right, they'll turn into a distraction for the jumbo puff. The best way to find scripts is to go talk to Moog. He knows the ins and outs of every breathing thing left alive after the apocalypse. Unfortunately, this means you'll have to venture farther out into the dead zone than Moog's camp on the steep depot. Once you find Moog, he'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find scripts. It's a little feisty and tough critter. A perfect fit for a live ammunition, if you ask him. The Grease Monkey's Mekton is built sturdy, just like himself. Can you imagine how this place used to look before the dead oil flood? Might want to hold your breath before you head any further. You're about to witness the breathtaking vistas of what's known as the Dead Zone. In the old world, roads like this really led somewhere. Now, most of them lead to disaster. Can't rely on technology all the time. That over there is Steepo Depot, the cliffside that Moog hangs on to.
Possibile. Il Mu. Tiava. Mishako her, Vaxa ush in Tabadan.
This one's impressed to see you out here. He figured you'd be dead by now. Not many are as tough and clever as you must be. Says a monster hunter hears many things on the wind.
Mishako her.
Moog says that all your power doesn't do you a bit of good if you're not willing to pull the trigger when the time comes. Choosing what to kill and what to spare are the most important decisions you'll make. You might have a steady aim, but you need to be sure that you pick your targets with care. It's hard to make those life or death decisions for others, but someone's got to do it. Otherwise, they'll do it themselves, and you know they'll miss. When it comes to monsters, he mostly picks who dies. Says it's wild that the world seems to be coming back, but he supposes that means more monsters for him to shoot. Wonders why you work so hard to keep things alive. Bullets help thin the herd instead. Says you should give up on working with the stubborn myriad. He keeps trying to put out their lights and they keep putting up new ones. Says they keep the monsters away. He needs them closer, not farther. But enough of that, right? He says the wildlife, nature, has changed and turned against us. Instincts of survival took over when the world changed. He's not sure about their veggie diet anymore, and if it's changed, who knows what it's done with the chemical composition of their body output. Right now, though, he feels he's come to a point where he's got a pretty clear idea on the whereabouts of monsters, both tall and short. Says he's not sure, but if you're going to haunt something, it seems a waste not to eat it. Moog says you must learn to walk before you can run. It takes practice before you can call yourself a monster hunter. Fortunately for you, he can help. He understands you need to start off with something small before you go big. There's no better place to start than a squip cave. Hunting down a couple of these little critters for yourself should keep you on your toes. Says you stick to the haunting and shots present themselves later. Let's see. Put one robot foot in front of the other. You look a wee bit pale. great view from up here. A hero has to stand on its own. Sob about the thin air later. Back to your own stompers. Let's see. It's Skypook Outpost. The Ankati tribe blew life into that ages ago. The air's too thin here. Bang Shelter 7C. Should have been stated right there in Toxanol letters. Your lungs aren't built for this.